What's up, sports bettors? Do you guys, man, I already got a comment. Do you guys have any Underdog app picks? Bro, we're going to look. Give me a sec. I like the enthusiasm. Let's freaking go. Let's hit some bets. Let's look at Underdog Fantasy. We're going to look at Caesars. We're going to look at everything. And come in, my man. We're going to hit some bets. So I hope you guys find this helpful. Really the goal of OddsJam is just to help everyone make money sports betting, kind of learn the strategies, profitable sports betting strategies, stuff like that. So let's go ahead. Let's get into it. And I just got to deposit a little bit of money into Caesars, and then we're good to go because I'm in a new state. But we'll do that quick, and then we'll call it a day. Okay, so we got Underdog Fantasy. We got Prize Picks pulled up. Let's get WinBet pulled up. Let's get FanDuel pulled up. I apologize for the delay, but we're almost good to go. And we'll hit some bets, and hopefully you guys are able to tail some of them. You can let me know what you like. We can talk about some sports betting promos. And, I got to open up my spreadsheet. Sorry, I started this stream far too early. I found Muncie over half of a hit, but I'm not sure how good it is. Let's check. But anyways, let's go through it. So typically, what's really cool about OddsJam, and hopefully this, maybe you don't, is what you can do is you can just select the sports book you want to look at. So you want to look at Underdog Fantasy. I found Muncie over half of a hit. And what's really interesting kind of about Underdog Fantasy is what am I trying to say? Is they have better payouts than Prize Picks. So let's go to this little sheet, right? So for a 3-pick power play, we've gone through this math. If the math is confusing, please don't hesitate to kind of reach out to us. I'm not sharing my screen. Give me 1 sec. I got to figure this out. And then we will be good to go. Okay, I got some picks on Underdog. I got it all figured out. Okay. So let me share my screen. I apologize. Okay. So the first play, right, the easiest way to make money off Underdog is just go to this positive EV tool, and you can, of course, manually search any game. It's completely free on OddsJam to browse odds, which hopefully is helpful to, everybody. But, what you can kind of do is just browse around, and I typically look at the 5-pick. So the 5-pick is same as the 3-pick on Underdog Fantasy. Any 3-pick entry, you're getting minus 122 implied juice. Any 5-pick entry, you're also getting minus 122 implied juice. That's why it's better than Prize Picks. Prize Picks gives you minus 141. So you can get an $100 deposit bonus. There's a link below on Underdog Fantasy. And I'm going to hit a pick, and hopefully you're able to hit it too alongside me, and we can go through why we really like it. So what we have here is the first pick we want to go with is Brian Servin to record a hit. So I'm going to go ahead and load it up. And probably because this is live, people may beat me to it, and maybe the line will move. I'm not particularly sure. What we can do is just kind of load it up. Brian Severin. So this guy doesn't even have a picture. I hope he's good at baseball. And then we have Bryce Harper, and then we have, how do we feel about this one? Candelario. Or you could go with Sam Haggerty. It kind of depends. You can pick some opinions, but we'll go with the Royals game, and we'll go with Harper under 1.5 bases. So we're going to go here, and then we want Candelario. And I'm going to lock this in for $100. So again, no. So again, if you click the link below, you can sign up for Underdog. You can get a $100 deposit bonus, which is pretty cool. But we can talk about the math. We can talk about the strategy. kind of Underdog. Why do we like this play? Why do we like a lot of these plays for today? And again, it's just math, right? Like, it's just value, right? We're getting enough value to beat the VIG. So if I go to DraftKings and I open it up, so let me stop sharing my screen for a second and just go over to DraftKings very briefly. Is essentially, like, the way I like to think about sports betting is we have 3 picks here, where we're staking $100 to win 600, right? Here we have 5 picks. 5 picks have to win to turn $100 into $2,000. Here it's $100 to win 600, but that's not 600 total. That's 500 in profit. So it's just like a 3-leg parlay that's plus 500 odds. So we've gone through this math kind of tons of times, but essentially on Underdog, because the strategy is important. If you've heard this before, I apologize if it's repetitive, but it's important. We're staking $100 to win 600, 500 in profit, right? So your total payout is always going to be different. They always show you, most sports books do too. They show you your total payout, but not your profit, right? Because the profit number is always lower. So 100 to 600 seems like the sports book is giving you more money back, and they're actually only giving you $500 in profit, and then your $100 entry back, so 600 total. So you're getting plus 500 odds, right? So essentially for any 3 pick on Underdog, the implied price is minus 122. So hopefully that makes sense. For a 2 pick entry on Prize Picks and Underdog, it's going to be minus 137. And the reason is 2 picks is always plus 200, right? So you're betting 100 to win a total payout of 300. So if we go to pick them and we select 2 picks, you'll see it's 100 to win 300. Always, doesn't matter. Take overs, unders, whatever you pick, it's going to be 100 to win 300. So kind of opportunities for picks that you can go with is you want to look for value at minus 122, right? So if you're playing a 2 pick entry, you need to look for value at minus 137. If you're playing a 3 pick entry or a 5 pick entry, it's minus 122. If it's a 4 pick entry, it's minus 128. And then on Prize Picks, they offer pretty crap payouts on 3 pick entries. So you should skip Prize Picks, right? Prize Picks has a lot less opportunity than Underdog Fantasy, and I don't have a bias, right, against either of these companies. I bet on both of them, but definitely worth getting Underdog Fantasy more valuable. So here we can see, like, okay, we're getting this Brian Servin guy to get a hit at minus 122 implied odds. Bet Online, a very sharp offshore sports book, has this minus 152. DraftKings Caesars, minus 160, minus 164. It's like, yeah, like, that's a play I want to hit. Bryce Harper, under 1.5 bases, right? Most sports books pricing this, they're all like identical. There's nothing better than when every sports book is pricing something around minus 150. They're all in line, right? Every sports book is telling you the same thing. This under should be like minus 130, minus 129 fair odds. Every sports book's model is pricing Harper basically the same way, right? Plus 115 on the over, minus 150 on the under. So if you throw that into a no-vig odds calculator, what you'll see is like, oh, every sports book is pricing this at minus 129. That's what their models are implying based on, so like getting minus 122 for the under is incredible value. DraftKings paying for Judge to get a hit. That's a pretty cool feature of StreamEast. Word. So what we can do is go through, like, this is always what's fascinating to me, and this is honestly why sports betting is so fascinating, right? Is you essentially get all these sports books, essentially just like pricing, these assets. I'm not even sure what to call them. Pricing the exact same bets at different levels. And that's really why sports betting is so fun, so profitable, whatever. So what we can do is we can go to hits. So we have Candelario, or what is this guy's name? I guess the game just started. So I think we got that bet off right in time. But, you can kind of see, did we? Yeah, this game started at 6:40. So if you just missed this and you want another play, what we can do is just refresh Odds Jam, turn off these dang filters, and see what else is out there. So this bet just went away, right? The game just started. So what we can do is just be like, okay, we want to skip over this play, but we can look at another play and kind of like, so we want this Sam Haggerty guy. Looks decent, right? Caesars and FanDuel, or Caesars and DraftKings, a little less bullish on this guy to get a hit than, say, Bet Online is, but still getting minus 122 doesn't seem terrible. So if you missed the last one, it's like, okay, we know for a 3-pick entry, we're getting much better odds on Underdog, like minus 137 to minus 122. Like, that's a big jump. That's 30 cents in juice in the entire market, 15 cents on each side. So you definitely don't want to be playing, 2 picks on Underdog unless there's 2 bets that are incredible and you can't find anything that even looks halfway decent to pair it with. So we want to go with the Sam Haggerty guy, Bryce Harper, and Brian Serven again. And we can go through the math if it's helpful for people, but I feel like at this time in the day, most people are just trying to bet, right? So then we can, let's throw another 100 on it because F it, why not? So now we got a lot of plays open for today. I got a lot of plays open for today. Hopefully you got a lot of plays open for today. There's nothing better than having a lot of plays open for today. Get your drink out. Turn on some games. Whatever. But what we can do is just be like, okay, we have this Brian Serven guy. Can't ever spell any of these guys' names. Brian. Did this game start as well? No. Brian Serven. I don't know. This game's at 9:45. It looks like DraftKings just pulled the market. I'm not sure. They did. So, whatever. We'll go through it another time. We've done a million videos on Underdog Fantasy. Well, have you talked about the new recommended prize picks for today? Bro, I did a video, man. I did 2 videos on prize picks. You got to watch the videos. Paul Suarez. Well, obviously it's a special promo. Aaron Judge. Copy and paste funky names. Just joined. Do you have a recommended stake feature? I'd love some explanation. Yeah, so I mean, this was really just a, kind of recommended or requested. It just shows you basically, and it's not perfect. I think there are a lot of considerations that should go into bet size. But what this does is it essentially takes your profit margin, how good the bet is, and it tells you how much to bet. And I don't necessarily think that's a perfect way of, sports betting, but for example, if you place an arbitrage bet, this is literally just as an example. Arbitrage betting, you can earn risk-free money. Yay. So it's kind of like day trading sports. If you have Pinnacle, you have DraftKings, so you're in Ontario, Canada, as an example. It's like, hey, you can earn a risk-free 2.35%. I wouldn't exactly bet weird numbers. Why give the sportsbook a reason to think you're sharp kind of analysis. It makes a lot more sense to just kind of I typically bet in 50, 100, typically increments on prize picks. If you get limited, I'm limited on prize picks. So I typically just play in these $25 increments more for fun and things like this. But just something to consider about recommended bet size. I can't see the videos. Search prize picks. Search prize picks. Prize picks odds jam. But anyways, let's go back and we'll see. Let's see if there's any plays available on prize picks that seem decent. So this does, I mean, for a 4-pick entry on prize picks, you're getting minus 128 implied odds, same as Let me just log in quickly. Can't have you guys stealing my password. But I'm in New York right now. But I'm down. I do love a good old drink in Tempe, Arizona, home of Arizona State University, where my beautiful mother went to college. But so essentially you're getting minus 128 implied odds on prize picks. Okay, so like here we have 4 picks where the no vig line on every single pick is minus 128 or higher. So there's value at minus 128, right? So the 5-pick flex line, I typically, like 5-pick flexes are a little more complicated than power plays, just because it depends on the probability of each pick hitting. Like if you have 1 pick that's very likely to hit versus 5 picks that are all the same likelihood of hitting, there's just some complications in the math. But what we could go with on prize picks is these 4 picks in a power play, because they all look good to minus 128. This one looks incredible. Dean Kremer, over 5.5 hits allowed, although I don't think I'm going to be able to rebet it because I already have it. And they capped me at $100 per player, which isn't fun, but it is what it is. So I already placed this, but if you wanted to go with 5 picks on prize picks, Brandon Woodruff, under 4.5 hits allowed. You got Johnny over 3.5 strikeouts. Charles LeBlanc over half of a base, so to get on base once, and then Dean Kremer over 5.5 hits allowed. Look into correlated parlays. Hey, Alex, I just signed up to PointsBet. How would you attack the sign-up bonus? What is the sign-up bonus? What's the sign-up bonus? Free bets, what? And then I look into correlated parlays on prize picks and Tua Hill over. Yeah, this is interesting. I'd say what's challenging maybe about stuff like this, like correlated parlays, is like it's a little harder to get an exact answer on what should the price be. Like something like this, you have 3 pretty solid data points that this would be great in a 4-pick power play on prize picks at the implied juice of minus 128. Whereas something like correlation, it's just harder to price. And it doesn't necessarily mean there are bad bets or good bets. Or it doesn't necessarily mean it's impossible, but it's just difficult. So we haven't done much with correlation. Maybe we will at some point, but we haven't yet. 2K free bets. But that's a great point. It's fascinating. So 2K free bets. So, typically for free bets, let's see if I have any. So I don't have any free bets currently. But typically for free bets, you just want to bet them on something that's a long shot. So if you go here, usually for the most part, where do I put my free bets? It's just kind of on random crap. Well, I don't have any free bets. So I really should have some free bets. But essentially, I'll just place them on long shot parlays. So if we go to PointsBet, I have PointsBet selected, is what you can kind of do is parlay together a bunch of positive EV bets. That's not a bad recommendation for playing free bets until you get to plus 500 odds. Or you can quite simply do this and then place your free bet on some crazy long shot on PointsBet. So you could filter, I just want to see PointsBet New York. I don't know. Maybe they have different lines and you can wait for it to load and just throw your free bet on a long shot. We'll see if anything comes up if it loads. I'm not sure what the issue is. So I can reload the tool. So Connecticut plus 715. Of course, as it loads, I reload. FanDuel logged me out. Okay. So maybe Connecticut plus 715. Not a great free bet, but that's an opportunity. And then we also have a tool that you can like convert your free bet into cash risk-free. So that's an opportunity too. It just depends how much you want to gamble versus not gamble. Maybe you want to gamble more and you're more risk prone versus risk averse. I don't know. I started out arbing and then now I don't arb because it's boring and less profitable. And more boring and less profitable. So 2K free bets. Yeah, so I mean, there are a bunch of strategies. You can just place it on a positive EV bet, a long shot play. That looks incredible, though. So looks like it just moved. These lines can move quick, especially with arbitrage. So you really have to be on top of it. So we can see what else is out there. Positive EV bets. So we've hit a couple plays on Underdog. I don't think we have any sports bets yet for tonight. So what we can do is just kind of turn on these filters and see what's available. So I gave out that prize picks pick. Hopefully you're able to get it down. Yankees minus 105. That's a bet I can get behind. You know, Caesars has this a coin flip. Pinnacle, it's an ARB to. It's almost an ARB to FanDuel. Looks great to DraftKings. 20 cents of improvement in an only 30-cent market. True price to DraftKings, probably like minus 110. I mean, overall, just very clearly a good bet. So what we can do is just like very quickly try to navigate over to the Yankees game. Starts in 13 minutes. Perfect. We got a bet on for the night. Go to a bar in New York, and we'll hit this bet. And then we have some sweat on the Yankees, so I got to log back in quick. So let me share my screen. Slim Radon, was that a free, helpful answer or not really? So what we can do is go back here, and then we can bet on the Yankees. So maximum stake is 315. It's like, okay. So now we have a bet on the Yankees team total. You know, just like OddsJam is mainly just rational sports betting. You can always, you know, we have a bunch of YouTube videos kind of about bankroll management, the Kelly calculator. But like at the end of the day, it's like bets that are better and like more noticeably better pricing discrepancies. Like when every sportsbook is pricing something as a big favorite and you can get it minus 105, when most sports books are leaning minus 125 area on average, you know, that's pretty good. And what you can also do is, which I know some people do, is you can open up the odds for a game and then switch to, you know, just a state with every sports that doesn't have regulated sports betting. And this will just show you the odds on every single sports book. So you can kind of like line shop and see if everything, you know, makes sense and if you like it. So the Yankees team total on Bet Online, you know, they have the line at 4.5. So some weird comparison stuff. Okay. Do you have a video that explains when the money line or the total goals scored is the better bet in soccer? I've noticed soccer favorites can be a loser and they can be minus 300 money line to win. Yeah, I play soccer bets. What I recommend doing though, the issue with soccer, right, is let me just open this up quickly, the Betfair exchange. This is a good strategy. I mean, Travis, let me know if it's helpful. Okay, I'd rather try to win my first risk-free bet with a pretty safe EV bet. If it loses, then play. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Do you have a video that explains when the money line or total goals? So the issue with soccer in terms of EV betting, at least with OddsJam, is we don't have, you know, currently like three-way markets are a bit more complicated. Like if we go to, as an example, let's go to a soccer game. So we can go to like Man City, Man United. I think I have a bet on that game. Or here, I'll just look up Man United versus Everton. So now we have up this game, and it's like, okay, that's cool. So Man United's the favorite. Everton is best offered at plus 325. So what you can do is kind of use the exchanges because they offer two-way markets. Okay, but they offer them in decimal odds. So you have to know how to convert it to kind of US odds. So if you're looking to EV bet, we're probably going to add this to OddsJam soon. So there are positive EV bets on soccer. But yeah, that's kind of an option. So if that's helpful to people, I can definitely prioritize doing that. Like this is essentially saying, the draw, you can bet like plus 255. That's essentially what this is saying. It's a little more complicated, but you get the point. So you can use this. We have some videos if you look up like Betfair Exchange Odds Jam. We definitely have some videos on the Betfair Exchange, how to use it in sports betting as a source of information. Just because like there's a lot of money bet here, right? Like, well, this is Southampton Everton. I apologize. So I went to the wrong game. So what I have to do is go to Southampton versus Everton. So it's like, this is in decimal odds. So it doesn't really look like there's a good bet available, right? Because here it's like plus 128, plus 165, plus 165. Here, there's no plus 165s. The best price you can get the draw is plus 253. Best price you can get Everton is plus 255. Like, there doesn't appear to be anything good. I'm not sure if that's helpful. Best you. Agreed. Are you working on adding parlay bets to the bet tracker? Yeah, we are. Less so, but yeah, I wouldn't say it's my biggest priority. My biggest priority is winning, but bets. But we are looking to add parlay bets to the bet tracker. Yes, we are. It's just a little complicated right now, but we're gonna add it soon. And then we more want to add just the rest of the sports books. We probably have like 50 sports books to add, just because the whole goal when we started OddsJam was kind of be like that platform that had every sports book odds, like any single one, regardless of where it was, just so you could like literally view the market side by side. For reference, when you bet $500, is that half a unit? I don't really believe in units. I kind of believe you should bet within bounds. But like I kind of believe it's like risk tolerance for sure, and you should, follow risk tolerance. But like, I never really heard the term unit size when I started sports betting. And, it's kind of like how much money should you invest in the market? It's like, I don't know, like maybe there's like some proper percentage or something like this. But when I bet $500, I'd say that's like a very standard bet size on most sports books. But also most sports books limit bet sizes to not as much. So it sometimes depends. Is lower market width better? Yeah. So lower market width just means you should have higher confidence that your bet is profitable. So what that means is just kind of like, here, or we can go to an example, right? This Navy Air Force game. So I already have a bet on the under, but it's like typically the sharper bookmaker. So here it's Pinnacle. They only have 19 cents in market width. DraftKings has 30 cents. So DraftKings has more juice baked into their market, right? It's kind of like the whole understanding is typically when the sports books have less juice, there's more like betting going on in those markets. So the sports books are more confident. So to remain competitive, they reduce the vig, they reduce the juice. Whereas like, Chinese basketball, Russian ping pong, those are typically the ones where sports books have high juice because there's not much betting volume. And they're like, we don't really know where to set lines, and they're less active. So typically tighter market width means you're more confident where the line should be set and where there's a true pricing discrepancy. So you'll notice on like, I'll show, we can go to an example. We can go to the game tomorrow, NFL. Dolphins game, 4 cents in market width on the Betfair exchange, right? So like, you can see there's a lot of activity. Like there's thousands of dollars kind of being bet here. Maybe not thousands, but like very tight markets. If you kind of, so like 4 cents plus 178, plus 182. That's in decimal odds, but like you get the point. And, like that just means that's because this is a very active market. So if you told me, hey, you can bet the, Dolphins plus 185, I'd hit it, right? Because like this market is so tight and so efficient and so sharp, and there's so much like trading volume at this point. I made a killing the WNBA, knew nothing about it when starting out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big believer in specific sports being more profitable. What CLV percentage is considered good? That's a hard question. And the reason it's a hard question is it depends typically how far in advance you place your bets. So if you place, as a better example, if you place bets that are a month away, and let's say they're 3% EV at the time of placing the bet, that bet is equally likely, just by definition of where the sportsbook was pricing it, to be 7% EV by the time of the game or minus 1% EV. Like lines are going to move. There's going to be sharp action. Maybe, some star player gets injured in that month. Like there's more time for the line to move in a month. Whereas if you place a bet right before game time and you're placing all your bets the same day, typically the EV percentage of your bet when you place it, it's not really going to move. Like if you place an NFL bet two days before the game starts, like you're going to beat the closing line, and the EV percentage is going to be very constant, or you're going to have a higher beat CLV percentage. But it doesn't necessarily mean your average EV is higher, because those bets that go from 1% to 4%, as opposed to just staying at 1%, bets are, if that makes sense, like your average EV percentage wouldn't change, but the amount of bets that actually close with green, better odds than the closing line, will be lower. Did you bet on the Dolphins game? Yeah, of course I did. What kind of question is that? Thursday Night Football, did I bet on the game? Let's open it up. Let's see what I bet on. I think I did a video on it, but I did bet on the Dolphins game. So what I ended up betting on the Dolphins game is the Dolphins plus 2.5 on the first half spread. So I do think the Dolphins have a good chance of winning the game, but who knows? We'll have to see. Is there a certain time and day that most odds come out? I can't sit on the EV page all day. Should we always bet on bets? No. This the answer is no, and yeah. You definitely can sit on the EV page all day, by the way. I mean, you really can, even with a full-time job. It's very easy to just hit a refresh button every once in a while, and very addictive. But at least a lot of people, use OddsJam, I would say, during work hours, and they just hit the refresh button. But most odds are posted for the upcoming day, probably around 5 p.m. It seems like NFL player props come out Tuesdays, Wednesdays. It depends a little. Thursday Night Football player prop odds are typically out on Monday. It kind of depends. Like, if we can actually go to, let me stop sharing for a sec. If we go here, and then we'll go to bets with a 55% win rate. So the reason, like if we go to rushing yards, we can see what games are out kind of here. So let's load this up and let's kind of see what's out there. So it looks like most games have been released. For some reason, Saints, Vikings, most sports books haven't released odds on Kamara yet. I don't know. Like sometimes it's a little random why certain sports books have released, like why haven't lines been released on Christian McCaffrey on sports books? I don't know. But they have on Prize Picks, clearly. So sometimes also maybe sports books just aren't releasing lines on James Conner. I don't know. But they are on, Jonathan Taylor. I'm not sure, but it looks like maybe some issues in the Cardinals game. Sportsbooks haven't released odds yet. Only Prize Picks has. Same with Packers, Patriots. So it kind of varies when they post odds, it seems like. In terms of placing bets only with a certain win percentage, the thing is if you're placing bets at plus 200, where you're betting 100 to win 200, you only need to win a third of your bets to break even. So if you win 40% of your bets, your loss rate is still 60%, but you'd be incredibly profitable, right? Like if you were to place, a bet for $100 at plus 200 odds, that's winning 40% of the time, your bet has a 20% EV, right? But you're still going to lose the majority of the time. But there are people who bet full time, on golfers who are like plus, 2,500 to win. And those golfers are only winning 5% of the time, and they have 30% EV. But it takes a long time to like realize that payout because you're losing 95% of the time. But like, so long story short, you want to win 55% of the time when you're betting on point spreads and totals, which are probably the most common type of sports bet, or not even 55. Like anything over 52.38 puts you in the green. So if you're winning 52.4% of the time, you're in the green. So like 53% is 1%, 1.18% EV. 54% is 3% EV. So like most, serious sports bettors, pros, full-time, whatever they call themselves, 54.25%, 55%, 54.5% is kind of like pretty good. So Jamar Chase, anytime TD tomorrow. Fearless, was that helpful? Was that helpful? So Lou X, Jamar Chase, anytime TD tomorrow. Let's see. So, like here, you can see sportsbooks have already started to post odds for week 5. Pretty crazy, but I guess they have. So if we go here, it's like, we want anytime touchdown score, I guess, or first touchdown score. We can take a look, see if there's anything out there. Joe Burrow plus 550. Anytime TD score on FanDuel doesn't seem horrible. Joe Mixon minus 130. Where's Jamar? Jamar Chase, doesn't seem like a ton of value, but definitely don't bet him on BWin, which is the same as BetMGM. But I don't know what they're doing at minus 175, but that's not great odds compared to every other sports book. Plus 105, you can get them plus money. Some sports books have minus 124 too. So maybe not terrible, but not great. You can see what's out there. Not a ton. Maybe some value, some places, but I don't see anything jumping off the page initially. I did place some yesterday. I forget what I bet on. Mike Thomas, I think, and I think I bet on him. So there's still some good value at plus 420. Green. Most sports books plus 265, plus 220, plus 230. Doesn't seem terrible. Bet you feel most confident about for this week? Most confident isn't a good. I don't like that term because if there's a bet I want to be most confident in, I would just bet on the most likely team to win with the worst payout. So like if you place a bet at, if we bet on the Packers at minus 400, I'm very confident the Packers are going to win because, you're betting $400 to win back 100. But what bet do I like most? Which is a slightly different question for this weekend. I did like this bet, over 39 San Diego State, Boise State. Under 38 Navy Air Force I had too. I don't mind either of those college football totals. Michigan minus 9.5. Minnesota minus 9. This I don't know, like a lot of things, but I would say I do like the over 39 in the San Diego State game, but I don't watch infinite college football. Raheem, first TD. Was that bet most confident in? So I said over 39 SDSU game. Yeah, definitely is. 400 bets. That's good to hear. That's great. I'm scared from any bet over plus 130. Yeah, I mean, it like even in let me just log into Caesars. They really should keep you logged in. It's so nice that's one of my favorite things about Prize Picks and Underdog Fantasy and these DFS platforms is they don't log you out, it doesn't seem like. But if we go here and we go, yeah, tennis is wild. But like, it's just kind of like, it's really just about like, like it always feels like you're throwing away money when you do some of these promos that are like, oh, you got to place a 5-leg parlay and it has to be this odds, but you get your money back or half your money if you lose. It always feels like you're throwing money away because when you're betting something plus 1357, you only have to win. So if we go to an odds converter calculator, you only have to win 6.86% of the time to break even. So what this calculator does is it just takes the odds and tells you if you won this amount of the time, you would break even. So if you're placing a parlay at plus 1357 and you're winning 1 out of 10 times, you'd be extremely profitable. 10% of the time, you're winning 1.3 Gs, 1357. And the other, 90% of the time, you're only losing $100. So you would net, if you won 1 out of 10 times, you would lose $100 9 times. You would lose $900 and win 1357. You would be profitable in the long run. So it always feels crazy to like play some of these long shot bets and promos and stuff like that. But like, you can definitely place positive EV parlays. It's like the math behind a parlay is the sportsbook just takes the odds of both bets, converts them to probabilities, multiplies them together, and then gives you that in odds format. So like if both of your bets are positive EV, then your parlay will be positive EV. It's just you're going to win less often because you need to win 2 picks as opposed to 1. And typically it's like, why would you place a plus EV parlay if you can just place a straight bet? It doesn't make a lot of sense on why you would want to win less frequently, but you can definitely do it. That feel most confident about. What else? Kentucky spread. Man, I don't know about Kentucky, but maybe. Tennis, yeah. So hopefully this was helpful. We'll see if any other bets are out there. Anything on Prize Picks, Underdog Fantasy. I mean, anything at all. No problem with placing some bets. So we got the Rockies first half run line on FanDuel plus 108. Doesn't seem bad. So we can go. Let's see how quick this moves if we hit it. So we hit it. And yeah, I mean, just pretty clear value. in the lines. So there's nothing better than when you get an arbitrage bet and it's a positive EV bet, just because like it increases your confidence so much that the bet is really good. But regardless, like here, it's like, this looks incredible. Although Pinnacle just moved. But these player prop lines can be whippy. Here we go. We got some NFL Underdog props coming out as well. So Underdog Fantasy's fun. If you don't have it, I highly recommend it. Highly recommend doing at least a sign-up bonus for $100 below. And the reason is like, it's a lot of long shots, but it's fun because you don't need to win that often. Again, like you need to win these 5-pick entries 1 out of 20 times to be profitable. If you're winning 1 out of 10 times, you'd be a legend, right? And we've hit some, and they're fun. So I like that, but I like winning. So what happened to this play? Over 42, Cardinals, Panthers. What do you guys think? Over 42, Cardinals, Panthers. No math. If you just had to pick. Looks decent, not incredible. But the Betfair exchange has the over 42.5 with only 3 cents in market width at minus 111. This doesn't seem terrible. If you're looking for a good spot to bet on the Cardinals Panthers over, it looks a little plus EV. Maybe throw something on it. But I don't know. You're quick. Very quick. Very quick is important. Speed. Not going to bet it. Yeah, you got to be quick because these lines can move quick. So, when you start out arbitrage betting, especially like I did, you learn where the heck all this crap is so fast. So here we got another 3-picker on Prize Picks or Underdog Fantasy, same shit. But Bryce Harper under, Sam Haggerty over. What was the last one? Joey Bart. Simple name, beautiful name. I love that name. And if we go here, so we want to go to Bart. Why is this always screwing up for me? We want Joey Bart over half of a hit. So where is this guy? So we want him over half of a hit. We want Haggerty over half of a hit. So just to get a hit, over half of a hit. And then Bryce Harper under 1.5 bases. This parlay would come out to plus 382 on DraftKings. So, you're betting 100 to win 482 in profit. Whereas if we go here, what you can see is just like, who was the last guy? Bart. Simple name. How do I forget? Here it's 100 to win 600. 100 to win 600. 100 to win 482. Pretty big differences. These differences are what make you, go from square to sharp or unprofitable to profitable, however you want to think about it. It's not about winning every bet, right? It's really just about finding these edges and being able to lock in these bets that have value. Pretty simple, really simple. And just dealing with variance is very hard. Initially, especially dealing with losing days, losing streaks, because the winning streaks come too. The losing streaks definitely come. The winning streaks come. It's pretty fun to analyze, but obviously everything is encompassed in terms of net profit in the long run. But even just a lot of the middles you'll end up placing. So we had an epic one this weekend. So I had Arkansas money line, which pissed me off. But regardless, we had Texas A&M -2, right? That pushed. So it says 1, but 975 you won, 975 it pushed. And we had Arkansas plus 2.5, which cashed. So this was a, middle bet. We got plus 101, minus 102, which cashed, right? And then we won a lot of these Rice ones, but we middled it. And it's just there will be winning streaks, there will be losing streaks, then you win a big parlay. So you really need to see things over the course of the long run, because otherwise it can be F this, finding value. Like, I'm never betting on sports again because 3 value bets lost in a row, when it's like if you flip a coin 3 times, it can show up on tails a few times in a row. It's kind of life. DraftKings always suck. Great game, nice and simple. Do you recommend betting multiple total runs? Yeah, why not? I'm all about betting. Robert, I'm all about betting. But you can always just pick the highest EV one, or if Phil, DraftKings odds always suck. They got a lot of promos though. DraftKings was my favorite sportsbook when I started. I never see positive EV bets. Plus, they don't have a search feature. Yeah, the search feature is nice. That's for sure. So the search feature is definitely nice. So what we can do now is is this helpful, by the way? Do people enjoy this? Because I want to do this more frequently if people like this as opposed to full-length YouTube videos. So let's hit some more bets, though. I feel like there's been too much talking. So what we can do is we can turn on these filters and we can see what's out there. Also have to log into Sportsbooks. So I already bet this under 38, which I just said I liked, and now it's under 38.5. So you kind of got 2 options, and I still got to deposit more money in Caesars. So let me do that quickly. Stop sharing my screen. And deposit. And let's see if this works. I'm in a new state. Got to deposit. Got to deposit. You can also feel free, anything you don't like about the product, always happy to hear it or what could be better. You can feel free to email me, stuff like that, and hopefully it's helpful. What's the biggest parlay you hit? Yeah, love it. Yes. Okay. Overall seems great. None of the boos have numbered games anymore. Oh, none of the books have numbered games. What do you mean by numbered games? What does that mean? What does that mean, Vince Vegas? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, bro? But anyways, give me 1 second. Alex, are you the coder? Bro, do I look like the coder or the degenerate sports bettor? Or both? Give me 1 sec. I need to get some more alcohol. Round robins, the math is the same as parlays. If you're placing round robins on profitable bets, yeah, it's fine. But your bets need to be profitable. You can place, if your bet is for sure positive EV, you can round robin that shit. You can parlay it. You can straight bet it. The math still holds, right? And we can go through the math of a parlay, kind of how it works, stuff like that. But essentially, if you look at a parlay, like a parlay calculator, or, even better, just look at a sports book, any parlay, right, where both legs are minus 110, it always comes out to plus 264. So where does this come from? Well, what you do is you take this minus 110, and you put it into an odds converter calculator. So that's the 52.38% number. So then what you do is you take this number and you just square it. So this is what, that's definitely not right. So there we go. We got to turn that into a percent. So 27.4, and then the sportsbook takes this number, and then they go, okay, now we got to convert it back into odds. They just like convert odds, and then you get plus 264, which is exactly what we saw. So like, there's no magic behind parlays. It's just the sportsbooks converting odds to probabilities, multiplying them together, converting it back into an odd. So if all your bets are good, parlay it. Why not? Sounds fun. So what we can do is we can go to college football, and let's see if this bet is still available. I'm not sure why they're still hanging it, but let's take it, and we can hit a parlay. I mean, I'm always down to hit a parlay. So we got the Angels minus 2.5, and then we got Navy, the Navy game. So like, you could parlay these. It's fine. And Caesars has a search button, which is great. I love this. Although it is frustrating, is I have noticed, I feel like you can never go to a different game if you're already on a game. Or there, I guess it worked. So then we want to go to the Angels Athletics game tomorrow, and we want the minus 2.5 at plus 160. And we can go through the math, but I assume most people don't want to. If you do, and it's helpful, we can run through parlay math. You know, I think it's interesting. I think it's fascinating the first time kind of going through it. But now we have a 2-leg parlay, minus 110, plus 160, comes out to plus 396 odds. And we can hit it. And now we have the most random parlay in the world. What's the biggest parlay I've ever hit? I don't know. DraftKings $2,000 free bet at plus 1,000 odds was the biggest parlay I ever hit, I think. But it's not the biggest win. So here was a parlay. We lost. Biggest parlay of this weekend was the Commanders. Not that. I mean, there's one. See, I placed a lot of positive EV parlays. This was the biggest parlay we hit this weekend. TCU minus 1.5 and under 48 in Eagles Commanders. Those are my Washington Commanders. I'm from Virginia. So they're awful, but you stuck with them. So the Yankees already winning. So hopefully some people were able to tail that team total bet. I mean, it appears that they're winning, considering they're minus $5,000 on the first 5 innings money line. Oh shit! Sorry. Awesome. What were your wagers when you started out? $5 or $1? I don't even remember. Very small. Offshore bets, always fun. Started betting more and arbing more, then dipped my feet into positive EV betting, and then I stopped going out because I was having too much fun sports betting and kind of realized sports betting was too fun. Leave the house. So not showing screen. We don't see it. Hey, show screen. What I was showing was just the DraftKings one I'd have to dig up, but it was a good one. But here we have the Commanders. This was the biggest parlay from this weekend. That was great. Also lost a lot of bets. Don't bet on your own team. You know, not actually. This bet was very good value of plus 6.5 at plus 103 odds. I'm pretty sure they closed plus 5.5 minus 110 fair odds. But yeah, I mean, that's the biggest parlay from this weekend. Lots of lost bets. Some wins. We had this nice middle. Well, this middle didn't hit, but we had UL Monroe plus 9.5, and that's always fun. But anyways, I hit this on Caesars. Angels minus 2.5, under 38.5, and Navy Air Force. So, you know, pretty cool. We don't see it. Show screen. Hey. We don't see it. Show the screen. Show the screen. Just took over 3.5 strikeouts on this. Do you make a lot of money with Odds Jam? I bet a lot of money with Odds Jam. I would have hit an 18 football parlay, but Ray Lewis lost to the Chiefs. Never hedge, Vince. What does this mean? I placed a bet, 2-team parlay, Michigan minus 10.5, and then under 49. But it moved my odd from plus 215. I don't really understand this question. Can you clarify? Judge get a hit yet? That's a big one. They're pitching around Judge. Shocker. Why are they pitching around the guy? Let the guy get a hit. How do you stay in shape? Do I look in shape? You just stop eating. I don't know. What's your favorite sport to bet on? UFC. UFC. Wait. What do you mean? So what we can do is we can refresh, see what's out there. So this is a good example of a line that moved against me because I bet the Browns minus 2.5. So sometimes lines move against you. Can't win every time. How do people feel about this? Looks pretty good. Under 24.5 in the Packers game. That's an opportunity to place a bet. But what you may notice is like, hey, DraftKings has the total a point higher. Maybe we don't like it as much because DraftKings, has the team total for the Packers a bit higher. So maybe we don't like the under 24.5. Like this is a pretty big discrepancy. 24.5 to 25.5 on DraftKings in Pinnacle. But I guess 25 isn't a common number in football either. So over 30, that looks pretty good. Over 39.5, NC State Clemson. I mean, that is low for these two teams. So that's a play we can lock in. I'm going to lock in. You guys can do what you want. What's your CLV on the Marlins pick? Don't know. I don't know what they closed at. So what we can do is we can go to the Clemson game and we can bet over 39.5. Or 12.50 max. So we'll hit it. And I mean, this is just like, every sportsbook has it favored. FanDuel laying minus 110, minus 110. It's just a good bet. So it's all about kind of squeaking out these edges. And I will say, like, every single sportsbook works the exact. What did I do? I got to go to full game total. So total points. Every sportsbook works the same way. Everyone thinks they overcomplicate it in terms of how bookmakers work. Is literally they all do the same thing. Exchanges are different because it's peer-to-peer betting. I'm curious if anyone thinks exchanges. Do you guys think exchanges are cool? I'm curious if this is something that people actually think is interesting. Is peer-to-peer betting, or if it's just boring as well, or if just Prize Picks is interesting. 2-team parlays at plus 200. But exchanges are interesting, I guess. Peer-to-peer betting. What you can do is just kind of go here. The way that all of these sportsbooks work is they literally have models that spit out win probabilities. So for DraftKings, they're pricing the over at 54%. So they know, we think based on our model, all the action we see in the market, that the true odds is minus 118. So then we're just going to add in our VIG. They throw the vig on top, and they call it a day. And that's how sportsbooks make money. They assume sports bettors are dumb, and they make the vig. And if too much action comes in on the over, this model updates, and they're like, oh, all the action's coming in on the over. I guess it's like 55% to occur. So let's take the over to minus 145, and we'll take the under to plus 115. That's exactly what they do over and over and over again. They just make that little spread, the vig, the vig, the vig. I like the low vega on exchanges, judge at the plate. I'm not sure. I'll look into it for you. Can you go over some UFC and a few all spots? I actually have a very interesting UFC play, and of course, they logged me out again. Well, this is logged in, but I do have a bet, which I am going to brag about. Well, I have this as well. I have no idea who she is, but we have her plus 115. Let's see how we feel about that. Maybe it moved in my favor. That looks incredible. She's now favored. She's minus 115 on Pinnacle. I'm getting her. What did we get her? Plus 115. So we placed this bet very early. We placed this bet on September 11th, which is my sister's birthday, a tragic day in America. But we got a good bet. So, I'll definitely place bets far in advance. We placed this bet 17 days ago. This fight night's this weekend. That's lit. I wish I bet more on it. That's insane CLV, considering Pinnacle. But what I do want to show and brag about, obviously, is going to be my bet on Charles Oliveira. I got to log into a new sports book. So this bet I'm very excited about, and this fight night I'm very excited about. So the biggest fight night is going to be on. So what we can do is go here. Is the biggest fight night is on October 22nd. Are you planning to add cricket odds? They're actually coming oddly soon, because we get that question a lot. And I don't bet on a lot of cricket, but I also haven't looked at a lot of cricket lines. So what you can see here is this is my Arizona account, but I left Arizona for a bit. Come back home, be closer to my mom for a bit, and we can see Charles Oliveira plus 160. So we got him plus 160. What is Charles Oliveira now? Not bad. Plus 123 on some sports books, plus 145. I mean, maybe plus 160 is not that great. Not as good as my bet on this other woman, Julia Stoliarenko, or Julia Stoliarenko. This bet is exciting. So, pretty fascinating. And then we got some soccer bets and stuff like that available. I love winning bets on sports don't know anything about. Yeah, me too. It's always fun. When are you planning to add cricket odds? They're coming. Tua, Waddle, Betfair Exchange is cool. Okay. I tried signing up for OddsJam. That I'm not sure about. End a few all-sport parlays with Islam Makhachev. Well, I got a different bet, but maybe I'll have to hedge out. Not really. What do I get? I've gone to Caesars a couple times, but I don't know much. I wanted to say I ended the free trial. I won and lost, but analyzing the lines has opened up a new look for me on sports betting. That's great. Typically a parlay better, but straight betting is definitely something, I'm with the positive EV. I'd have to back out the EV. You'd have to back out the EV, which isn't necessarily, a great answer, but that's the answer I'm giving. It's here, for example, sometimes you'll see totals and spreads and stuff like that. I'd want to see a percent. I try to I like seeing everything in a percent. What is the profit margin percent? So it looks like we just missed 2 great player strikeout bets. That sucks. That doesn't look bad if you're looking for a bet. Well, I guess it's literally starting now. But we'll see if there's anything on Underdog, Prize Picks. We'll see if there's any first touchdown scores for tomorrow. I do like betting on first touchdown scores. I think that's a very fun bet. But it's just, there's a lot of vig typically. So it's just hard. It's harder to find good bets. But they're fun. Plus 4,600. I don't really know. Don't know much about him. You got Jamar Chase, first touchdown, plus 650. Doesn't seem terrible. But sportsbooks juice these markets a lot. So sometimes he's like big, plus 6,600. Like, it's not as good as it seems. Plus 4,600, doesn't appear like anything astounding out there, but still worth looking at from time to time. And you'll also notice there are two-way markets on first touchdown scores. So what you can see here is Joe Mixon, granted, there's not much action yet. The prop markets typically don't get active, but the anytime TD markets do. So Jamar Chase is a terrible bet at plus 105 anytime TD score. Here, someone's letting you bet plus 128. Joe Mixon, plus 105, someone's trying to buy. So these, exchanges are pretty interesting. We've done some videos on the Betfair exchange that you can check out. I have not taken advantage of that. I've taken advantage of Win a lot. I've gone to the Win a lot of times, but that's because it's nice. The Win is nice. I don't think Caesars is particularly nice. Charles Oliveira, TJ Dillashaw, bet the house. He's got Charles Oliveira. So hopefully, let me plug in my computer and get more alcohol. Yo, Sean O'Malley is something I might fire at. Sean O'Malley, maybe. What strategies do you recommend for live sports betting? Typically don't bet live much. In between halves, I will with OddsJam, but same concepts. EV, looking for value, looking for line discrepancies, looking for middles. Like, it's the same stuff. It's just everything moves faster if you're trying to bet in the middle of the game. Like, I don't even bother with NBA unless it's quarters, timeout. Same with NFL. Because, right, Christian McCaffrey, he looks like he's about to get tackled. He breaks the tackle. He gets 6 extra yards. Like, that moves the line massively in the fourth quarter, depending on the score, for either the spread, the total, the whatever. So, like, lines can move quick. How do you control the downswing and not gamble everything? You just get – no, I'm kidding. I don't know. Like, you have to trust the math, the system, internalize it. I think kind of the reason a lot of people realize, wow, I can beat the sports book is they hit an arbitrage bet, right? Because then you make literally a risk-free profit, and you're like, oh, like here, plus 110, plus 108. It's like if you had both these sports books, you lay 100 on each side, you're making $8 or $10 depending on who wins. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I can make money sports betting, which is great. And then, you kind of start to realize, like, okay, like there is math involved. Data matters. I got to understand the data. And like this Navy Air Force bet, it's an ARB to bet 365. over 38.5 is plus 120. You can get the under 38.5, which we just bet in our parlay, minus 110. So it's like, yeah, I mean, like one of these bets by definition has to be profitable. It's an arbitrage bet. So I'll play it. I know to play the under at this point because it's just following the data in the market. Every bookmaker is pricing this minus 163 to minus 129. We can get minus 110, clear pricing discrepancy, clear value. And I already bet it under 38, so I'm pretty sure you have to double down. Do you follow European soccer? What do you mean by define follow? Do I bet on? Do I watch? Do I go to games? How do you control the downswing and not gamble everything? Why not Shiloh? What? I don't know what that means. Good enough odds, plus 290 on MGM. What happened to the free picks in the Discord? We got to figure that out. I stopped getting drunk. I just have a drink every once in a while when I get tired. It makes me wake up. So what else we got? Any questions about sports betting? Anyone prefer to hit bets? Also happy to hear what's helpful on live streams, more just talking about strategies, more answering questions, more just hitting bets, people tailing them, whatever. Always happy to kind of hear what people like, what's helpful. It's really just about thinking, about data, controlling your bankroll, because there will be weak streaks. And what I find very interesting, which is hard for a lot of people to hear, but if we actually just, let me open this up. If you look at a binomial calculator, and it's a little more, no, absolutely not, Daniel Cerrone. But essentially, it's just like every bookmaker, obviously OddsJam has to be controlled into a product where it's a data-based product, right? Where there's a lot of odds and a lot of numbers and percentages, and you can make risk-free money with arbitrage. You can, whatever, work through deposit bonuses with low holds. You can look for middles. Every sports book, gets its own action. So their lines have some say in maybe what should the price for something be. So you kind of consider all lines. If Pinnacle was Charles Oliveira's plus 190, it's just so far off from the rest of the market. Is there a sharp sports book, stuff like that? But there's no Bible of sports betting. You kind of try to look at things holistically, ideally, and we try to incorporate that into a product that you can blindly essentially bet, in get bets that are good and actually have mathematical value and beat the VIG and win in the long run. So it was it's obviously one of the, you got Charles Oliveira. It's obviously one of the books that, it's not by definition, and I don't want to maybe dwell on this. Everyone can come up with their own opinion, but it's known to be a sharp, friendly sports book, right? They kind of were one of the first sports books to reduce VIG, reduce juice. And they have an article. I can't tell if this is my computer. Why is it slow? But, they have articles on why they allow arbitrage betting. They don't limit whatever. And they just don't believe people can beat them. I mean, you can read the article for yourself. I don't need to sit on it, but they just don't believe people can beat them. And they're very efficient. They invest a lot in their trading technology. But again, no sports book's a Bible. Use all the data to kind of find good bets and, use data to inform your betting decisions. It's just kind of the whole premise of OddsJam. But, we have to pick one sports book to kind of zone in on and focus on, at least at first. So that's the one we picked. Why do you lose brain cells, Shiloh? So you can look at, odds for free on OddsJam for UFC. 10/22 is obviously a big day if you're a UFC fan. So, what are you losing brains about? I mean, these guys have the exact same name basically, but it should be fun. If you're not into UFC betting, I have a good friend who is, and it's fun. So if you're looking for a good line on Makachev, it looks like minus 148 isn't terrible on FanDuel, but you can check the exchanges, which we don't have yet, I don't think, on OddsJam for this sport. And you can go to Charles Oliveira. I'm never going to know how to spell these people's names. So we can go here, and then you can kind of like, plus 138, plus 144. So doesn't seem like there's anything I want to jump into. How would you take an advantage? 3-leg parlay, you can definitely manually look for some good bets, of course, on OddsJam or even there are people who use OddsJam to just kind of see the lines, and they don't even bet on any of the sports books or have them available. Like there are people in Europe before we ever had a European sports book, just so they could see the odds for all the sports books side by side. The more data you have, the more helpful it is. Even if, we don't have bet online public, odds publicly, it's like you can see, you can kind of see where the market is before you place your bet on another sports book. So this bet looks interesting. A lot of lines. Pinnacle does seem a little bullish on the yes run first innings. That's one thing people have noticed. So there's definitely no sports book's perfect. Some sports books are obviously sharper, but that's kind of, the motto we take at OddsJam is just use data, to try to inform your betting decisions. And some bets will be very clearly good. And the bets that aren't very clearly good, skip them over. Like here, like this, in my opinion, is an obvious bet on PointsBet, right? DraftKings has it favored. Pinnacle has it favored. Every other sports book has it, a coin flip. So DraftKings, Pinnacle versus PointsBet. This is PointsBet Part 2 in New York, at least. So seems pretty good. Most sports books have the spread at, 1. So Bet Online, another sharp sports book, has it at 1. You can get plus 1.5 at plus 100. If you like the Falcons this weekend, that's definitely a plus EV bet. Definitely going to make money in the long run placing that bet. So that looks good. This Angels one looks pretty clearly good, right? Plus 130, plus 146, plus 135. This is plus EV to Pinnacle. It's plus EV to Resorts World. Plus EV to PointsBet. Not plus EV to Pinnacle's or to FanDuel's market, plus EV to DraftKings. Looks pretty good. So just trying to use data. Here it's Bet Online has the under favored on Thursday. Pinnacle has the under favored, right? Caesars has the under favored. PointsBet and its sister sportsbook are the only ones who don't. So, that looks like a pretty good bet. And that's what the filters try to do. They just try to zone in on those bets that are very clearly to the entire market, very big pricing discrepancies, as opposed to just, one sports book, just this sports book sharp. There's so much data in the sports betting market. OddsJam processes so much data. So just trying to zone in on every sports book, this is the clearest bet that is beating the vig. I mean, I don't recommend playing it safe ever. I like to gamble, but it obviously depends on risk tolerance. We have a bunch of videos about strategies to use a risk-free bet. So, it just depends. I always on risk tolerance and stuff like that. If you're you know, if you're going to have a panic attack if you lose it type of thing, it's not worth dealing with. Like, we have a bunch of videos about that and stuff like that. Phil, I don't know, soon. This is, you know, we're definitely working on it, so feel free. Let's see if any picks are available. Then I'll hop for a bit. I'll probably be back on later. I'm a little tired. I need to eat. Gotta eat. But looks like a lot of the same picks available too. We hit some of these. Looks like there's some first quarter spreads now coming out on Caesars for college football. So I'm sure there will be some opportunity. Liberty half seems okay. Not super high EV percentages. A lot of the games have started, yada, yada. So hopefully this was helpful. Any questions you have, don't hesitate to reach out. And let's make some money. I'll be back later, hopefully when sportsbooks start to post odds.